And still focusing on Africa, in the highly volatile Lake Chad Basin, countries of Cameroon, Chad, Nigeria, and Niger, the decision by many recruits to leave Boko Haram remains the group's ranks are shrinking. Although accurate figures are difficult to find, Institute for Security Studies data suggests that at least 2,400 desertions in Chad, 1,000 in Nigeria, 584 in Cameroon, and 243 in Niger. Motives for leaving Boko Haram include individual circumstances, safety concerns, and the group's internal dynamics, among others. Now, this is a positive sign for efforts to reduce terrorism. However, it should go hand in hand with a regional strategy on disarmament, demobilization, reintegration, repatriation, and resettlement. This will lay the foundation for a transition from conflict to peace. And joining me to discuss this is a researcher, Lake Chad Basin Program, Institute for Security Studies, Teniola Tayo. He joins us from Abuja. Good to have you join us, Teniola Tayo.
Thank you for having me.
You understand that a lot of people, especially in this part of the world, Nigeria, are quite skeptical of this reintegration program. They basically don't understand how members of a terrorist group can become repentant. It is quite strange to a lot of people. So talk to us about the reasons why these people are leaving Boko Haram and then the reintegration process.
Thank you. So first of all, I'd like to mention that there are three major categories of ex-Boko Haram associates identified in our reports. So we have the voluntary guys, we have the liberated guys, and the involuntary guys. The voluntary were those that planned their exit from the group and found ways to safety, so in spite of the risk of death or injury, so it was willing for them. Then we have the liberated individuals. They're people that were abducted or kidnapped and coerced to work in the fields for Boko Haram or serve as human shields during military operations. So they were often left behind after battle when the group retreated in the face of military operations. And then we have the involuntary. So these guys joined Boko Haram willingly as well, but they later surrendered to security and defense forces as an exit strategy, so as a way to leave the group. Now, why are these guys leaving? There are several reasons why they're leaving, but I'll list four of them. The first one is disillusionment. So there are some individuals that joined the group for socioeconomic reasons, to earn a living because Boko Haram promised them that, or for protection, because we also know that Boko Haram offered protection to people. But after joining, they became disappointed by the difficult conditions within the group because, the group comes with its own dynamics, its norms, and its social hierarchies. The second reason is a misalignment of objectives. And, so it was some ex-associates that realized that serving the group did not align with their own plans for the future because they were forced to prioritize the objectives of the group and the leaders of the group above their own objectives, which is what I guess you would naturally expect from such a group. The third reason was a lack of consistency in messaging and then the internal practices of the group. This was mostly the case for people that joined the group for religious reasons because they experienced some dissonance between the religious recruitment messaging that Boko Haram had sent to them and then some of the group practices that they saw that were somewhat irreligious. So, because they joined for ideological appeal, they now found that material considerations, so considerations to do with money, often superseded religious issues within the group, and this was not okay for them. There's even one of them that said this to us, and I'll quote, "Everything the group does is contrary to the Muslim religion. Killings, kidnappings, rapes, physical assault." There was another one said, that it's the beheading of human beings like me that I didn't like. That's why I ran away. It was the others who were slitting people's throats, and I often witnessed it. So these guys left because they didn't agree with some of the practices that Boko Haram was doing.
All right, Teniola, I just want to quickly, I want to throw another question in because of time. Your group your organization, that's the Institute for Security Studies, have said that the fact that people are leaving this group it could be of an advantage if they are properly reintegrated. What sort of challenges have you noted with the reintegration process?
Well, I'll frame them as implications. So first of all, there's implication for the fight against Boko Haram. Because Boko Haram, and particularly the Shekau faction, they're realizing that people are leaving. So they're beginning to increase their surveillance and they're severely punishing those that attempt to leave and fail to leave. So this is discouraging, other guys that are trying to leave the group. Another challenge has to do with communities and their leaders. you know that when you disengage someone, when someone disengages from Boko Haram and you want to reintegrate them, they're going back to a community, and a community that has seen them as, you know, a violent extremist, that sees them as an oppressor, and you expect them to accept these guys back into the community. So there are some challenges there. There's not enough dialogue with communities to explain to them that the guys that are being reintegrated are often the non-violent extremists, so the ones that have not been seen to have committed a crime. So maybe those that were just farming or things like that. And it links to the third reason, because attacks are still ongoing. You know, Boko Haram is still attacking villages left, right, and center, and then you're asking them to accept people into the group. So it's a tricky situation. Another challenge is gender inequality with the way they are addressing the approaches to reintegration for both men and women, and also children.
It's a very tricky one. I mean, a lot of these people have lost their family members to the attack, so it's quite difficult I mean, it's difficult to comprehend that, you know, this process is ongoing. But we hope that you continue to make your recommendations, and those in the appropriate quarters will listen. Teniola, researcher, Lake Chad Basin Program, Institute for Security Studies. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.